Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about how your words control your reality. A no BS guide on how you can use your own words to control your reality. So this is essentially about a video about how the way that you talk to yourself and how the way that you talk to yourself impacts your reality. Okay, so if you have a dialogue with yourself in your mind that is negative, so for example, I never get the things that I want, life is hard, I never get things right, I always sabotage my relationships, I'm never going to get the things that I want in this life, I just want to give up, these kind of negative sayings, then that's what your reality will turn into. So you need to be really careful with the way that you talk to yourself, because what you affirm in your head becomes your beliefs. Okay, especially if you sort of repeat the same things in your mind and you talk to yourself in the same way over and over again. So the idea then is you need to develop a more positive way of talking to yourself. Now, there are many ways that you can do this. You can first start off with just finding some positive affirmations online and just saying those to yourself. But what would be best is if actually you found some things, you found some sayings, some affirmations, and tailor them to the life that you do want to create. Okay. So, for example, if you want to earn a certain amount of money, if you want to have a certain kind of job, if you want to have a particular person in your life, then you can tailor these affirmations to that. So I would suggest actually creating your own affirmations and then saying those to yourself over and over again. One of the good things, the really cool things you can do with affirmations is you can actually write them down. So instead of just saying them to yourself, one of these things that you can do is every day rewrite over and over again these affirmations. So let's say you tailor like about 10 affirmations. Write them down every day, rewrite them. So if you write them down on a bit of paper, keep that paper with you. And then when you get time, write them out every day to yourself, rewrite them again. And obviously it's a good idea to say these to yourself. Another cool thing that you can do is actually record yourself saying these affirmations. And then sort of put it on a loop so you can listen to it over and over again, is even in your own voice, which you'll because the idea of writing these down and rewriting them down every day, and the idea of getting these affirmations in a recording and listening to it over again, especially in your own voice, the idea what you're trying to do here is you're trying to make these ingrained into your subconscious mind, so it becomes part of who you are. Because one of the reasons why a lot of people may be trying to reprogram their subconscious mind is because they're trying to create different neural pathways, so they believe these affirmations and they become instinctual and it becomes a habit. So this is why Neville Goddard's work is quite powerful, especially in his book Feeling is the Secret. He gives you 2 ways in that book on how you can implement and reprogram your subconscious mind with what you're trying to manifest to create the wish fulfilled and to create the reality that you want. And he does this through before you go to sleep, and through prayer, which is basically just meditation. So sleep is when you're listening to affirmations or you're visualizing the life that you want, and you do that before you go to sleep, because before you go to sleep you sort of enter like this theta state, and basically what that means is that your subconscious mind is extremely susceptible to messages the last few minutes before you drop off to sleep. So it's a really good time to reprogram your subconscious mind. Another good time to do is actually in the morning as well, because especially when you're still quite kind of drowsy. And another time you can do it is when you're in prayer or meditation, which is basically where you just sit in a quiet room for a while and meditate on the things that you want to create in this life. So those are some ways that you can do that as well. Okay. So if you get yourself a bit of paper, write down these affirmations, record them as well, you speaking into the microphone, and just do this every single day until you start to believe, until this becomes your natural way of speaking to yourself. And it's really important that these affirmations are positive, okay? And they're also not just that as well, but also they're emotionally compelling. So they cause a emotional reaction in you. Because in Neville Goddard's book, The Feeling is the Secret, the title gives away everything you need to know, which is the feeling is the secret. So if these affirmations elicit a positive feeling inside of you, or maybe they're really inspiring to you, they just give you a positive feeling. It doesn't matter what that feeling is. It could be a feeling of love, it could be a feeling of inspiration, ambition, passion. It could be just a nice feeling of contentment or anything like that. Anything that gives you a positive feeling. Try and create affirmations that elicit that kind of positive emotion, and it elicits an emotional response within you. Which is why it's a good idea to tailor your own affirmations and to not just copy someone's from the internet. And you can do that though, as long as they give you a positive emotion when you hear them or you repeat them to yourself or when you listen to them. So it's not just, because what I find is when I listen to affirmations and things to that extent and to things to that degree, what sometimes happens is I listen to one, so let's say this meditation has an affirmation in it, and the affirmation is really great, but the next one I'm sort of like, that didn't really do anything for me. Perhaps I even found it a bit negative, just from my personal worldview. So it's a good idea to have your own affirmations, because then you've got a complete list of affirmations that feel really good to you, and it's not just a bunch of affirmations that maybe some are good and feel right to you and others don't feel great. So that's a really important reason why you should create your own affirmations, okay? And that's how you will be able to change your internal dialogue, okay, if you really start to believe in these messages. So that's what I would say to you on how you can use words to control your reality, and some methods there on how you can make that happen for yourself, and to how to utilize them and use affirmations correctly. So make sure that they're supercharged with emotion, and they're emotionally compelling to you, and they make you feel something, and make you feel something positive. Because if you've had a lot of negative chatter in your life for a long time, because let's say maybe you grew up in an environment that wasn't the best, perhaps people told you how to think and feel, and perhaps some of these affirmations that you've been saying to yourself in a negative way, are things that people have said to you in a negative way, like maybe it was your parents or your siblings or your bullies at school, and maybe you believed these negative things that they said to you, and so it's sort of been like background chatter in your mind. So you need something that can combat those. You need something that can help rewire that old programming, basically, okay? So that's how you can do it, okay? And that will definitely help you to achieve the things that you want to in this life, because life is already quite difficult. So you got to have yourself on your side, okay? Because if you're beating yourself up all the time and you've got this negative chatter, then you're making things even difficult for yourself. You need to be in your own corner. That's why you've got to say nice things to yourself. You've got to be able to pump yourself up and get yourself out of bed and to get yourself inspired. Because if you're your own worst enemy and you're making life even more difficult for yourself, then it's going to be even more difficult to create the life that you want, okay? So fix the way that you talk to yourself, okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.